Hello all you movie fans and fanatics out there, it's your boy McQueen's Movie. Back at again another review, and today we're talking Shelby Oaks. And I want to give a massive shout out to YouTube movie reviewer Chris Stuckman, who wrote and produced this movie, wrote and directed this movie, by raising $1.4 to $2.8 million on Kickstarter to fund this movie for him. He got one of the best directors ever to executive produce his movie of Mike Flanagan. If you guys don't know who Mike Flanagan is, he did Honey of Hill House, I believe Honey of Hill Manor, Hush, and so much more. Mike Flanagan is the horror icon of Netflix shows and everything under the sun of Netflix original series. He also got Keith David to be in this movie, the voice actor of all time, the best voice actor ever, Keith David, to be in this movie. I want to give Chris Stuckman a massive shout out. He probably won't see this video, but from content creator to content creator, Chris, congratulations on this great accomplishment. You have inspired so many people that I watch personally, like Danny DeVito, and inspired me to get out there on YouTube and do reviews. And today I'm talking about your movie, Chris Stuckman. And I do want to say this before we get into the review. If you guys have a passion for anything, put all your effort into it. Chris Stuckman raised almost $3 million for this movie, and it blew everyone away in the box office, and it got praise by a lot of people. And the fact that he's just emotional, big content creator that raised money to make his own movie and got one of the greatest, the greatest producer, Mike Flanagan, on this project is astronomical for Stuckman. And I really hope that he doesn't stop with Shelby Oaks. He continues his movie career. And who knows, maybe I can collab with him in the future with a review or interview him, because I would love to talk to him about Shelby Oaks, because this video, I love this movie on so many levels, and I want to break it down all the way through. This might be a long review because I'm going to yap a lot, but bear with me, because I'm going to make you guys go watch this movie in a theater seat because it's so worth it. So, Shelby Oaks follows a sister, Mia, trying to find her sister, Riley, who went out with 3 or 4 friends with a YouTube channel called Paranormal Paranoids, who they investigate demons, abandoned places, and paranormal activity, and Riley and her friends end up going missing during one of their Paranormal Paranoid YouTube videos. So the first half of the movie is basically an interview style movie, where the interview is interviewing Mia, interviewing fans of the Paranormal Paranoids, interviewing the police involved, interviewing people involved, and then about halfway through, this movie devolves into a psychological thriller fuckfest of manipulation and demonic possession and a wacky turn of events that really brings the movie to a head in like the middle of the third act, or like the second act. Holy crap. Now, as someone who loves psychological thriller movies, I fell in love with this movie. I watched it by myself in a theater by myself. I was the only one in the theater. I was in a dark theater room by myself for an hour and 30 minutes, and I was so locked in. I loved every single second of this movie. Now, yes, the first act is pretty slow. I can admit that. It is a slow burn up until the ending and the third act. I understand that. But you have to realize that to make this movie what it is, it needed to have a slow burn building up to the falling action of the second and third act of the movie. Most movies, like psychological thriller movies like this, psychologically fuck your brain, you have to think about the movie, have slow burns leading up to the end of the movie. Some work, some don't. Shelby Oaks, it works. Chris Stuckman knew what he was doing when making the movie have a slow build up to what transpired in the end of the movie. So, I'm going to give my pros and my cons to Shelby Oaks. More cons than pros, but they're all, or more pros than cons, excuse me. More pros than cons. But there are cons that I want to address in this movie. But I want to start with the list of pros. This movie used a lot of the scenery for the main attraction of the movie. Dark forests, cabin in the woods, dark abandoned prison systems that made the movie feel more authentic as you were a paranormal explorer with the paranormal paranoids in the movie Riley and her three friends. Without that, the movie doesn't make you feel like you're part of the paranormal team. Because if you haven't watched any paranormal videos of people going into abandoned buildings, factories, schools, prisons, etc., you have to feel like you're with the people in the building. Which is why most videos about that are first person. Well, instead of you seeing me, you see, when I flip the camera, what's behind the camera. And that's what you see because it makes you feel more authentic with this. This movie used first person and third person to a way of tricking the audience of what is going on within the movie. First person is, for when you only see Riley and her three friends in front of the camera while the fourth one is filming, you don't see the fourth one. Or other instances where they hear things or see things that aren't there, but only the cameraman goes and investigates it. And the friends are out in a different way. The other pro I had with this movie was the acting. Excuse me. The acting is astronomical. Mia is fantastic. The actress of Riley is great. She plays a great young actress. I have great hopes for her in the future of her acting career. Because Stuckman didn't get a star-studded cast in this movie outside of Keith David. Because obviously, raising $2.8 million won't get you the Brad Pitts or the Leonardo DiCaprios or the Bill Skarsgårds or Toni Collette of the world. Because they're too expensive. The Shelby Oaks would have had to have been a multi-million-dollar movie, more so of like, I don't know, 25 to 30 to 45 million dollars to pay the big actors. So the fact that Keith David joined this project, probably on a low salary, with Michael Flanagan to executive produce this movie, was a thrill ride. He did an amazing job. I love the acting in this movie, so phenomenal. It made me feel for Maya. It made me feel when Riley was found. It made me feel for Riley and what she's gone through for the past 12 years, because she's been missing for 12 years, according to the movie. And disclaimer, Shelby Oaks is based on a fictional story. None of it is real. It is a fabrication of Mike Flanagan and Chris Stuckman's ideology of this. Shelby Oaks doesn't exist in real life. Just to say that before you say, oh my god, is it real? No, it's not. It's fabricated. But it doesn't mean anything. Because it's still so fun and so intense. It's, as you see, it's turn after turn, you don't know where it's going to go. You don't know where it's going. It's turn after turn, you don't know where it's going. And I was in the theater watching the first hour, and I was like, I'm waiting for this to hit I'm waiting for shit to hit the fan, and I'm ready for it. Because that's what I feel like with psychological thriller movies that have a slow burn. When is shit going to hit the fan? Where is it going to devolve into a story that you have to pick apart your brain to understand? Now, I understood the movie because I believe in the paranormal activity, I believe in demons, ghosts, I believe they all exist. I believe that when you're alone, you're not always alone in certain situations. In abandoned buildings, you're not alone. There's either animals, squatters, or ghosts, or apparitions that we as the viewer can't see, or maybe even the person behind that camera can't see either. But they're there. And it makes it known that Riley was the only one in the entire movie that felt the beings and felt the apparitions like nobody else could. She saw things that no one else did, and it made it a lot more terrifying. Because if I was in a group that went to abandoned buildings and I was like, hey guys, I don't feel comfortable with this, I feel something's bad happening, and they're like, oh my god, you're wrong, why are you saying that? Shut up. And something wrong happens, I'd be like, I told you. So it's like, it's more terrifying to think about it as you're the only one that feels it. Now, the demonic possession part is where it takes a weird turn. Because we understand that who got Riley was a sort of a Satanist who believed in a Satan god that was to sacrifice, you know, a young child or young girl to praise the demon lord that she and he worships. Now, it's not that common. This movie addresses it very slightly throughout the movie in the tidbits of like behind pictures and things like that, and like, you know, the story wraps around Maya's perspective of hunting her sister down and trying to find her. So it's a weird perspective because we don't really talk about the demon as much in this movie as I thought we would. Now, I didn't watch the trailer. I only saw the poster. Heard things about it from pre-screenings and YouTube content creators that talked about the movie, like Dan Dorito, etc., etc. So I didn't know what I was expecting walking into this movie. I walked into it basically blind. I walked into it extremely blind, and I walked out giving it an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, which is like a 4-star on Letterboxd. So, there were a few cons I had to this movie. Even though it was a slow burn, I still didn't like the pacing as much. The pacing felt too slow at the beginning. Now, I'm someone who understands how movies work. I've watched probably over 1,000 movies in my 23 years of life on this earth. And I understand slow burns and how they work. This movie, the slow burn does work, but it feels like the first act drags just a little bit too longer than it should with the interview process of multiple people. This is Maya, fans, the cop. It felt like we took a longer time to get to the second act than before. Because like other movies this year, like Sinners and Weapons and Locked, it took them a shorter time to get to the second act than Shelby Oaks did. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's more of a concern that people won't like it as much because the first act is so slow. To a degree. I do think it does drag a lot more than what people say it did. So, I look at reviews sometimes. I don't really, because I do this for a living. I post videos on YouTube of my own opinion on movies, and I don't like looking at reviews beforehand because it's a waste of my time. I've watched movies and walked out and people shit on it, and I was like, what are you people talking about? It was good. Or I've watched a movie that people said were bad and walked out like, yeah, that was bad. So I don't really look at reviews ever. I don't look at Rotten Tomatoes scores because Rotten Tomatoes is a scam. It is. Don't you worry, it is. It's a scam. So I watched this movie with very, very high expectations. And I walked out very, very satisfied. I remember... Excuse me. I remember when the credits rolled, I went, wow. Because I was genuinely blown away by what was put in front of me. Because obviously, demons and ghosts and paranormal activity is a very cliche genre. Obviously, we have the Conjuring universe, we have Chris Stuckman, we have other movies that deal with ghosts and possessions of people that we overlook how good a movie is based on that criteria. And I think with how the horror genre is in this now stage that the subgenre for horror is mostly paranormal. It's starting to get old in terms of how movies interact with it. Conjuring is really fun to watch. I do plan on ranking the entire Conjuring universe eventually. But it's like, it depends on what we're talking about here. Shelby does a great job of exploring demonic possession and explores Satanism and the paranormal of the extreme levels of it and the non-extreme levels of it, in terms of when you go into an abandoned place, you are most likely not alone 95% of the time. If you are, you're a lucky few. If you're not, get ready. So, I really like this movie. I would want to give it a 10 out of 10, but I reserve 10 out of 10s for movies that really floored me. I gave Sinners 10 out of 10, and if you guys watched my Springsteen review, I gave Springsteen a 10 out of 10. I did ramble about that movie, like I did in my last review, Chainsaw Man. But I gave this movie an 8 out of 10. I feel like there's more pros than cons in this movie. If you guys haven't seen Shelby, I encourage you to go to the theaters and watch it. It's definitely worth your time. It's definitely worth the energy to go to a theater and watch it. I could have watched it at home. But I said, fuck that, I'm watching it in the theater. Make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe. If you guys are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It's free. Subscribing, liking, and notifying you is free. There's no cost to it. As long as you enjoy my content and smash the sub button, I will be grateful and appreciate to all of you guys. If you guys see Shelby Oaks, comment down below. What would you think of the movie? Did you give it an out of 10? Did you give it a 9? Did you give it a 6? What would you give it out of 10? And I will see you guys in the next review. Make sure you guys love what you love, watch what you love, and watch movies in the theaters so that you guys, movie theaters won't be a thing anymore. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye everyone.